All right, this is going to be a pretty wild set of functions that we're going to be putting in to our database list here to do some totaling. Now, here's what it's all about. We've already kind of talked about how we will color code certain rows of our data because the red or the green or the gold or the white or whatever it is means something. It has some sort of a definition. So in the past, I just showed you how to sort, how to filter, by color. What I'm going to show you here is how to total up what you see here in column J, only the green ones or only the red ones. So I want to be able to have a little summary up here that shows me what my total sales were of all my red, all my white, all my green, all my gold. And I'd also like to know how many of them are red, how many are white, green, or gold. Okay? So pretty powerful stuff. Now the function that we're going to use to make that happen is something called CS band. That's C-S-B-A-N-D. All right? You will not find this function in Excel. This is a non-existent function. But then again, it exists here. How is that? Well, I created them. All right? And I'll get into the details later on. But what I want to do right now is show you how they work. All right? And when we get done with that one, I will then show you the other example where we count the coloring of the text itself. So whether you color your records with just a font color or you do it with a background color, either way, we can calculate the totals off of them, and we can also calculate how many there are of them in each of the colors. So very powerful stuff here. So here's what we're going to do first of all. We're going to go over to B3, all right? And you're going to type in equal, and then we're going to type in CS, and you'll end up seeing, in this case, CS band, all right? And we're going to go ahead and double click that, all right? Now, it needs to know a couple things here. Number one, what is the color that it's looking for? All right. Now, it just so happens that next to each of these, we have the color. Now, you don't have to go by red and white and green and gold. You can have any colors you want, whatever you use down here. These would be the colors here, but you have to have the actual exact color that you have for each of the rows sampled up here. It's got to be the same exact color, okay? The naming, it doesn't matter, okay? You don't have to have red for red, white for white. This could be good, bad, ugly, whatever, all right? You can have whatever you want in there. It's more of a legend, I would say, for anybody that's like looking at this, right? After you get done with it. Anyway, so the first thing it wants to know is where is the cell that has the color that it's going to be adding up column J for, right? And that will be this one right here. Okay, so we want that the way it is. Now, we're going to put a comma in there, all right? Now, the next thing it wants to know is, okay, what's it going to be adding up? Where is that at? And that's going to be over here, all right? So we're going to click onto this first one over here, Control, Shift, down arrow key, all right? Get the whole thing selected. We don't have a lot. We've got about a little over 500 rows here of data. So there it is on that. And then we do another comma, all right? And then we're going to put in the word false, okay? So there's false, all right? Now, before we enter this in, I'll put the parenthesis in here, right? Before we do that, I want to be able to make it so where once I put this formula in, I can just copy it down. Well, in the formula, I want the reference to A3 to change to A4, A5, A6 as I'm copying it down. It'll do that, no problem. We don't have to do anything to make that happen. But the range that we're adding up, we don't want that to be shifting down on us, okay, as we're copying it down. So, and you've seen enough videos on that if you've watched all of them up to this point. We're going to take that range then, all right, hit the F4 key, and that will make it absolute. So that'll make it locked in. Now enter that in, all right. Oh, I did backwards on this. Sorry about that. That should have been this one here. We're going to make this one true. Sorry about that. So just type in true there. Okay, so there's true. Okay, so enter that in. There it is. So what it's saying right now is that as far as red rows go, we have $262,093 in red. Okay, now we go ahead and we copy that down, just like that, and there we go. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the next formula in, which is going to be over here. And so this was adding up the numbers. This one is just going to count how many numbers there are. The only difference between the formulas is that this one that we're putting in will be set for false. And you saw what it come out before when I did it by mistake on that first one there. So we're going to make that one. So this one's going to be the same as this, but with false in it. So again, we'll go to here. We'll do our equal, all right? We'll type in CS. There's our CS band, all right? And then we're going to say, okay, we're looking at that cell. That's where the color is coming from, comma, all right? Here's the range. Now, with the range, I got to get back up to the top here because I was scrolled down the bottom there. So the range is going to start from here, right? So we're going to be adding up from here, row 10, Control Shift, down arrow, and then a comma. We don't need to scroll, we can just do it from here. Comma, and on this one, we're going to put what? Well, the first one we did was true. This one's going to be false. So we're just typing F-A-L-S-E. There we go, or you can double click it, whatever. Enter that in. There you go. And now we can take that, copy it down. Perfect. So what it's saying, in essence, is that currently, without anything being filtered out, just all of our data here with no filtering yet applied, those are the numbers. How much we have in red sales, white sales, green sales, gold sales, and how many transactions are in each of them. Now, of course, you have these little green guys here. That's telling you that there's something it thinks is amok. If we kind of select that whole range of them, hit our little smart tag, it says it omits adjacent cells. No, it doesn't. We're fine. So we're just going to say ignore error, and then they'll go away. That's just a little thing. All right, so now we got our filters in place. We turned those on before. Well, I mean, we didn't do it while the video was going, but you just click anywhere in here and you just hit your filter button here in data, and that turns on the filtering. Now, I want to focus in on, let's say, Africa. All right, so the zone, we're going to click onto that, hit the select all, hit Africa, hit OK, and there it goes. So there's the African sales, all right? There are 7 in red, 7 in white, 9 in green, and 8 in gold. Pretty cool. And then you can see the number of transactions. Now, if I want to focus further and see produce only, I can then go to category, hit select all, scroll down, find produce, there it is, and I'll add seafood as well. So we'll do produce and seafood, right? Those two, hit OK, there it is. So you can see how many are red and white and so forth. So very powerful stuff there. Now, I'm going to tell you, I told you ahead of time that I put this macro together. This is one of those, like almost like a golden grail of functions, because this is something that doesn't come standard with Excel. This is powerful, and for me to have made it so where not only does it count up the coloring and add up the numbers, but it also reacts to filtering being put into place. This is powerful. Chances are, you go back to your own company or go back to wherever you work at, chances are nobody knows how to do this. All right, so you'll be the first on your block to have it. All right, and then if I want to clear the filters, I can just go back up here and just go to data, hit clear. That clears it all out, and I'm back to having everything. So that's pretty cool. So hopefully you can start using that one. Now, the other one is with font. All right, so I'm going to go over to my total fonts area here. And here is where we either have black text, red text, purple text, or blue text. And we want to add up how many dollars we did in black, in red, in purple, and in blue. All right? And those are the 4 colors. That's all that we have in here, right? So now this one we're going to be using a function called CS font. All right? So we'll go to this one right here, hit equal, type in CS. There you'll see font at the bottom, or double click it. We're looking for this color, comma, over in this range over here. So we're going to start over here at J10, Control, Shift, down arrow key. Right when we do that, let's immediately just hit the F4 key. That'll make that absolute, comma, and then this is going to be true. All right. So once we've done that, we hit the enter key, and there we go. So there are, in total sales for black, all the black texted ones, almost 400,000. Now we can take that one, we can copy it down, voila, look at that. Now let's do the same thing for the number of transactions. So we'll do an equal, we'll do our CS font again, all right, double click that. We're looking for that color over in A3, comma, and then I need to get back up to the top once again here to start the range here. So I'll start here, Control, Shift, down arrow key, F4, make that absolute, comma, and this one's going to be what? False, right? Because the other one was true. This is false. Enter it in. There we go. So we got 119 black sales, and then do the rest of them. We got 148 red, 76 purple, 157 blue. Very powerful. And then once again, we can go back in there with the filtering and say, okay, I'm interested in sales made by a number of different reps. So I'll just click on my drop down here, hit the select all, and I'll scroll through here and I'll say, okay, I want Suyama, Peacock, and Rose. All right, those 3. Hit OK. That knocks it down to 117. Those are the numbers, right? I also want to see their sales in, let's say what we're going to look at 2 territories. We're going to do Asia and Africa. So we'll click onto here, hit the select all, Africa, and then, oh, we don't have Asia. Sorry. Okay. No Asia in this, so we'll pick something else. We'll go with Nordic here. So we'll go that one there, hit OK, and there's those. Knocks it down to 25. Not bad. And then maybe we want to focus in on just confections. All right. So we go to the category, select all, confections. We'll do confections and condiments. Those 2, hit OK, and there you go. Again, everything's all recalculating up there. Very, very powerful stuff. So hopefully this is something that you can use. And that's it. Now, if you want to start using this, as I told you before, these functions, these 2 functions are not available in Excel, okay? First of all, they're built into this particular file that I'm using. So you can download, if you go into the tab off to the right as you're watching the video here, you will see. And what I mean by that is if you go to the website, let me just kind of throw it in here. Here's the website that you're currently watching the video from. This is not the same video. But off to the right here, in this little button here, this little folder tab here, this will list out all of the files. Now, at minimum, what will be in here is the file that I'm using right now to demonstrate, whatever feature, right? That's the file. You can download that, and by doing that, then you can, anytime that you want to use these two functions, you would just open up that file, and you can completely, wipe this thing out and put your own data in there. Maybe leave this intact and maybe have your own colors in there. But for the most part, you would just get, obviously new data in here. That'd be number one, all right? So if you did it that way, no problems. It's just that every time that you want to be able to do this type of calculation, you're going to have to open up my file and then, change it to fit your particular data. Okay, so that'd be the first way to do it, all right? And I think for a lot of people, at least a lot of my students, they're like, you know what, we're going to do it like that, all right? The other way is in that same list, there'll be another file, and it's what we call an add-in, okay? And an add-in is a special kind of file that will contain the two functions in the form of what we call macros, okay? Now, if you're not that comfortable with having to bring in macros into your computer, then I would suggest that you just go ahead and go with the former and just bring up my file and use that one, okay? Otherwise, what you would do is download this add-in file, which will be in the same list with that other file that you saw. Download that will download as a zip file. And then what you can do is unzip it, so now it's a regular file. And then put the file somewhere on your computer. Don't keep it on the desktop. Put it, in some folder, maybe on your network drive or whatever, okay? That's that, okay? So once you've done that, once you've downloaded it, once you've put it in that whatever location, I'm going to show you now how you would bring in that add-in so it would connect to Excel on your computer, and that way then anytime that you go and want to use either the CS band or the CS font, it will be available for you in any file that you work with. That's pretty cool, okay? So we talk about more of this in my module 10, okay, of Excel, which has to do with macros and everything that you can do with macros, all right? So you'll have it there too. You can run through it there. But what I just told you, that's probably the short and sweet of it. So here's what we're going to do. All right, I'm going to close up this file that I'm using right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of here. Okay, so now I'm going to start up Excel. All right, there it is. Now, if I go in here, I'm just going to put the formula in here. If I type in equal CS, okay, you don't see CS band or CS font. What does that mean? Well, that means that it's not on my system, all right? So I made sure before I started this video that I don't have that in my version of Excel here that I'm using, all right? So I'm going to make it just as if it were like your machine. So what I've done, though, too, is I've put that add-in file, and the add-in file, its name, just so you know, is called count sum color. So count sum color, all right? I put it on my desktop, so it's going to be easy to find, all right? So I'm going to show you now how to add that to your system, okay? So here's how it works. What you'll do is so after you've downloaded that file, it was a zip file, you unzipped it, you put it in some safe area on your computer, all right? And you got to remember where that was, right? So now what you'll do is you'll go to File, You go down here to options, all right? And then you'll go into add-ins, all right? And at the bottom here, you'll see Excel add-ins. You just hit go, and it will currently show you all the add-ins that you have up to this point. Now, just for you advanced people out there, if you've ever heard of a feature called the solver, that's an add-in. For some reason, Microsoft doesn't include that in the program. You have to bring it in as an add-in, and there it is, all right? So that's how you'd bring it in. You would just click onto it, you hit OK, now you have it. We're not in that list, mainly because where I put the add-in, it's not in the area that normally the add-ins are at. See, this is a special folder within a folder within a folder area, all right? No problem. We hit browse. You navigate to where that file is at. So in this case, I'm going to go to my desktop, all right? There's the file, there's the add-in, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point to it, I'm going to double click it, and there it is. And it shows up in the list. It's already checked off for you. There it is, count some color. Hit OK, and that's it. It's all you got to do, all right? Now, upon doing that, if I now go, let's say to here, hit my equal, type in my CS, voila, there it is. There's CS band and there's CS font. Perfect. That's it. Now, if I go back in and I click on the file, click on the options, go to my add-ins, hit go, and take off the check mark. Take that off, right? Hit OK. Now, if I type in equal CS, not there. So there you go. So hopefully this helps you. It's your choice whether you want to use those functions in just the existing worksheet that or that workbook that I gave you as a download, which is the same one that I work with here, or if you want to download the add-in and put that somewhere and then attach it to your entire Excel system and use it more conveniently that way, totally up to you. So hopefully this works out for you. I know a lot of you out there that are watching these videos, you're just really anxious about maybe wanting to use this because it's so powerful. All right, so again, and let me just tell you too, there's no limit to the colors. So if you want to have 20 in there, 20 different colors, doesn't matter. It works with any size color assortment, any swatch of colors that you have, no problem. All right, well, take care. Appreciate you watching the video. See you later.